Hello everyone, and welcome to the Weekly Report. I'm Rob Loya, Neighborhood Tourist and Development Fund Coordinator. What is Neighborhood Tourist Development Fund? NTDF. The NTDF promotes Kansas City neighborhoods by helping fund a variety of activities such as social, cultural, and other educational activities. At the same time, NTDF promotes the city as a tourist and convention destination. If you are a nonprofit organization and a sponsor of a festival, concert, sports tournament, or other activity, your group may also qualify for NTDF funding. Your group must also demonstrate encouragement of a broad-based resident input and participation. For the complete rules or to apply for NTDF funding, please visit our website at kcmo.gov/NTDF. Kansas City is full of fountains, murals, and art. NTDF supports groups such as Art in the Loop, who have just opened their new installations all along the Kansas City streetcar line. Art in the Loop creates opportunities for artists while encouraging the public to continue experiencing art in Kansas City. All of this art is conveniently located downtown along the streetcar route. Now through September, we hope you'll jump on the KC streetcar and see many of this year's exhibits. Please go to artintheloop.com to get a map for the self-guided tour. Did you know that many Kansas City transportation projects, including the Kansas City streetcar, are federally funded? Federal funding for cities is determined by census numbers. If you haven't been able to fill out your census yet, please go to our website at kcmo.gov/census for more information. Hey, thank you for watching the Weekly Report. I'm Rob Loya with NTDF. Please stay tuned for more videos on city programming.
What is making a huge difference on this levee is the work you cannot see. That's because it's being done underwater. Near Berkeley Riverfront Park, crews unload rocks, dump them into the water, and then push them against the East Bottoms levee wall for reinforcement. Mort Dastardy, KC Water's Waterways Division Engineer, says water levels on the Missouri River last year damaged the levee.
This helps the strength of the levee because if there is a washout at the toe of the levee, that compromises the integrity of the levee.
KC Water joined Colonel William Hannon Jr., commander of the Kansas City District U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, on a tour of the East Bottom Levee Rehabilitation Project. This levee was among several others in Missouri and Kansas scheduled for repairs after the 2019 flood.
So I'm really here to see how it's going, talk to our folks on the ground here that have been managing the project and also the contractors that are completing the construction.
Colonel Hannon says the Corps watches the levees closely, especially after heavy rains.
So we are always worried about right now the rain and the forecasts, and actually all the snowpack runoff that go all the way up into the mountains on the upper Missouri reaches. We're taking a look at all of that. We take all that into consideration, as well as the releases we make out of our dams, both on the Missouri and the Kansas and the Osage rivers, to make sure we have just the amount of releases.
The East Bottoms Levee Rehabilitation Project will be complete in June. Crews will have placed nearly 100,000 tons of rock along the slopes of the East Bottoms to strengthen the levee against future flood damage. The City of Kansas City owns and operates the East Bottoms Levee with assistance from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to repair flood damage. For KC Water, I'm Heather Frierson.
This isn't about today. This is about the next 10 years. But this is something you can do today. You can make a difference today by completing the 2020 census. The census impacts hospitals, schools, public transportation. It's more important than ever before that everyone's voice is heard. I love Kansas City because I believe in the hope, and I believe in the joy, and I believe in the people. Shape the future of Kansas City. Go to 2020census.org and complete the census today. Shape your future. Start at 2020census.org. I love you, Kansas City.
Hi, I'm Stephen VANRHEIN, Environmental Manager with Kansas City Parks and Rec, and we're out here today with a group of volunteers helping clean up Echo Pond. Echo Pond was established quite a few years ago with help from the Missouri Department of Conservation and Grow Native. It's got a lot of native plants in it that are good for wildlife and for pollinators. And the pond itself is more of a wetland, and it helps clean some stormwater. And so it's got a few invasive plants, some plants that we didn't want in place. So the volunteers are out moving a lot of burdock, some volunteer trees that we don't want here, and generally just kind of cleaning up the look of the pond today.
Yeah, so our goal today was, one, we kind of missed each other as a team. We've been working remotely now for a while and thought that it'd be a good opportunity to serve the community and just kind of get together, see each other, serve the community, get outside.
Native landscapes like this already have a certain more wild look to them. And of their aesthetic, and keeping them as tidy as possible is one. It helps with the people liking the native landscapes. It helps keep the landscape generally healthy, so aggressive species don't take over the entire site, and you end up keeping the diversity of plants you have. So you have flowering times at different times of year. You don't want to have any one plant take over.
Helping to beautify as well as just kind of take care of some of the landscape that a lot of us use on a regular basis. I think it'd be really impactful.
This pipe represents more than just a piece of underground metal. It symbolizes the 200th mile of new water mains that KC Water has replaced under the city's water main replacement program. KC Water's project manager Terry Thomas says this ambitious goal began in 2012.
Our system here in the city is 2,800 miles of pipe. So our goal is to replace at least 1% of that every year as a part of this program.
That's a minimum of 28 miles of pipe each year. In 2017, KC Water reached the 100th mile marker. 3 years later, crews have now replaced 200 miles of new pipe.
And so we're actually a little bit ahead of schedule, reaching our 200 mile as fast as we did.
The purpose of the water main replacement program was to improve aging and failing water infrastructure. Some of the pipes still in use today are 50 to 150 years old.
We wanted to get this new infrastructure in to reduce outages around the city, to improve the way that we battle fires. We put in more fire protection.
There were 1,846 water main breaks recorded in a single year. Since the water main replacement program, that number has decreased to 729. Engineer Travis Kiefer, KC Water's Permitting and Development Division Manager, says it's better for the city both economically and structurally.
When you have fewer main breaks and you have newer mains in the system, you typically have lower maintenance costs.
Age isn't the only factor that determines where the new pipes are placed. KC Water uses a predictive modeling tool called Info Asset Planner that determines which pipes are in need of replacement first. KC Water and its contractors have accomplished a lot in the last 3 years, and the work must continue. For KC Water, I'm Heather Frierson.
About 6 weeks ago, someone decided to saw the marker off its base and to throw it over the cliff. And for us, that's not just a random act of vandalism. That is a hate crime. Someone with malice and forethought sawed it off at the base, took the time and effort to do that, and then to toss it over the cliff. And so we want to rededicate a new marker in this space. We want to have a celebration of the life of Levi Harrington. We want to invite the community to come and engage with us to understand the significance and importance of this marker and of this sacred space. And we're so glad that the Parks Department is working with us in that effort.
To me, it sheds light that we as a community in Kansas City, we have a better job to do of just being one cohesive unit, one cohesive voice. And that voice should speak against what's wrong. It should highlight things that are wrong so it doesn't happen in the future. And if that common thread is emulated, then I think we'd see a substantial drop in violence.
Hello everyone, my name is Amy and this is Ryan and we're from the Education Department here at the Kansas City Zoo. It's a little bit chilly today, so I thought we'd come in and warm up at the Crocodile House. We're about to meet Jesse and Frank. They are siblings and they are slender-snouted crocodiles. This particular crocodile species can be found in Western and Central Africa. It's a medium-sized crocodile, so they'll reach anywhere between 8 and 13 feet and can get anywhere between 200 and 700 pounds. Now they do have some differences than other crocodiles, and of course it's all in the name. Their snout is one of those big differences. It's a lot more narrow, and this is going to guide their food choices. So rather than taking down big mammals like antelope, like a Nile crocodile, they're going to concentrate on eating things like fish and crustaceans. Another difference is the rows of protective scales along their neck and back. Most crocodile species have about 2, but this particular species has usually 3 or 4 rows. Now this doesn't mean they don't have similarities. They have very keen senses like other crocodiles. They can see and smell incredibly well. And those eyes and the nose are positioned on top of their heads so they can await their prey, submerging their body underneath the water. Now they also have an underbelly that's kind of yellow, so it acts as something called counter shading. It's a camouflage. So if an animal is swimming underneath them, they're going to see that yellow belly and hopefully it will blend into a sunny sky. And it's a great way to make sure other animals don't see you. Now I mentioned that they concentrate on eating smaller types of food. And we have an example of what the skull on one of those larger crocodiles looks like. I'm going to toss it over to Ryan, who has examples with him.
All right, so I have here with me right now a Nile crocodile skull. You can see it is much larger than our slender-snouted crocodile skull. It's got a huge triangular shape with much larger teeth that kind of fit into sockets around each other. And that's because these crocodiles spend most of their life hunting much larger animals than our slender-snouted crocodile. This is the one you've probably seen on TV ambushing antelope or zebra. They can get well over 1,000 pounds, and that lets them be able to sneak up on these animals in those shallow rivers and grab them from below and then drag them into the water. These big teeth are made to help hold on to those animals while they're trying to catch their food. So you can see while our slender-snouted crocodile, like Amy mentioned before, eats fish, this crocodile, made to eat a lot bigger animals, although because it's a large crocodile, it can kind of eat whatever it wants, including fish and other smaller animals. I have a couple other skulls over here with me as well. Now you can see the difference between a crocodile skull and an alligator skull. This is a skull from an American alligator. They're really common along the southeastern US. And you can see that while our Nile crocodile has a large triangular shaped skull, our alligator has a more U-shaped snout in the front. But you can see it also has a lot of similarities to our Nile crocodile. Again, you see these large conical teeth that allow it to ambush prey that come near the water's edge. Our alligators here in the Americas can feed on both fish, but also larger animals like raccoons, maybe even deer, even turtles. They have really strong bite forces that allow them to puncture turtle shells. So like our crocodile, alligators are often generalist apex predators in their environment. And finally here, I've got a skull that looks a lot like our slender-snouted crocodiles. This is called a gavial. This is a kind of crocodilian that's found in India in their waterways. And like our slender-snouted crocodile, it has a really long, slender snout, even more slender. And if you look closely, you can see it has very small pointed teeth. And just like our slender-snouted crocodile, they attack fish and other small animals that live in their environment. So they're not going after bigger prey because they're physically constrained by what they can actually fit down their throats and what they can grab. So I hope you've had a good day hanging out with us here in the crocodile exhibit, and hope you've learned a lot about some of the animals and the adaptations that they have. Hope you spend a lot more time with us on our social media, and we'll see you later.